Good morning, I'm Tom. Welcome to Ledgemere. Today we're going to take the tractor back to the dealer. It's been shifting hard and it's on the warranty, so we're going to haul that down there real quick. They said they'd turn it right around. I imagine it's probably something that needs to be lubricated somewhere that I can't access, and since it's on the warranty, I'm not going to tear into it. I've looked at every place that you can think of to lubricate, and I feel like I've got them all, but it doesn't want to shift very well. It only just started doing it maybe a couple weeks ago. It's always gone into reverse a little tough, but it didn't shift hard. It wasn't like you had to, yam on it to move it. But now it's like going to the gym to switch gears front and back. So we're gonna haul that in. I'm sure it's not just me, but I have terrible luck with trailer lights. They always break, come unhooked, something, and so I gotta go grab the trailer, bring it up, and then I think I broke the lens when I put it away last time because I was going in a tight spot and I didn't want to hit the camper, so I misjudged a little bit and hit the bank, and I'm pretty sure I broke the lens. I went from a diesel to a gas job and it really heats up faster. I don't do a lot of towing anymore like I used to. I used to have a bigger camper that I hauled, and now I just have this little dinky camper, and the most hauling I do is a tractor on occasion, and I don't go very far, so gas job does just fine. The diesel I had the rapid heat too, but it still felt like it took forever to heat up. I usually keep a couple of these on hand because invariably I break them. Usually end up backing into something or whatever. It's hard to see when you're backing up, but I usually get out and check everything. But you still hit stuff, and they're just so low to the ground and they stick out that you just can't help but hit stuff with them. I'm at the point now where I put quick disconnects on them instead of regular splices because it's so much easier to get them off. But yeah, I save the bulbs if I can. I save the other lenses if they come off. Sometimes you get these new ones now and they don't really come off. They're all like molded on there. Like there's really nothing holding it. I don't even have a bulb on this side. I know that bulb was working because the truck will give me it'll tell me if there's a fault if it doesn't work. The biggest problem I usually have with these is a bad ground, and the wires come tinned, but they don't give you enough meat on the wire to do anything with. gonna oil my pliers up. There, that's better. There's two lubricants I use as far as spray. I use the PB Blaster for like rusty bolts, and then WD-40 has a couple of the specialist ones. There's one that's got this flexible straw that I like to get in weird places, and then they've got one with Teflon that I like a lot because it doesn't attract dirt. So like things that need to be lubricated but are exposed to dust, like your PTO drive lines and stuff like that, I like the Teflon. I used to work back in the mid-90s, one of the first jobs I got out of college, because there was a glut of teachers, so you couldn't get a teaching job. So because I had electronics experience in the military, I got this job installing car phones. And I don't know if you younger people remember that, but people my age certainly remember buying a car and then you take it to a mobile cell phone dealership where they would take your car, we'd take it out back and rip the interior out of it, the seats, the dashboard, the console, everything, drill holes through the roof, and put a car phone in it. And I got a kick out of it because we were just kids, and people would come in with a brand new Audi, BMW, whatever they had, they'd bring it in and we'd have it all ripped apart in about 20 minutes. And we were good at it. There wasn't too many times when we had leftover parts, but it did happen on occasion. You couldn't do that now with all the side airbags and everything else, but in the mid-90s, airbags were rare, and if they did have them, they were just on the driver's side usually. I got this taken apart, and while I'm yabbing, dielectric grease is the miracle for this stuff, because bad connections are your enemy. So usually what I do is I sandwich the flat washer sandwich the ground between a flat washer and a lock washer with dielectric grease, and I've shined up the surface where that's going to attach. So anyway, yeah, we would bring, well, at the time they were expensive. I mean, they're still expensive, but the $40,000 or $50,000 car back in the mid-90s was like a $100,000 car now, I guess. But yeah, we would pull everything out of it. Like I said, seats, console, dashboard, everything, and drill a hole through the roof. There was this one guy that we were training, and he was kind of a stout guy, and he climbed up on the roof of a brand new Saab 900 and crumpled the whole roof in, like he was going to get up there and drill a hole in the roof to put the antenna in. And yeah, he caved that whole thing in. And those of you who have driven a Saab 900, the key switch was in the console, and somebody went to mount the handset for the cell phone there, and the building we were in was an old warehouse with cement walls, and so he put a self-tapping screw through the console, tagged the ignition line, and the car started and smashed, because it was in gear, smashed into the cement wall. Brand new car. When I first started, the biggest problem I had was like drilling into the floor, and the carpets were kind of cheap, so you drill into the floor of the car to like put the pedestal to mount the phone, and sometimes the stupid carpet would catch a runner and it would pull the, and so that wasn't super fun. And the old cars that people brought in, of course the plastic had been deteriorated because it was in the sun, and as we know, plastic trim or plastic anything after it's been exposed to the sun for a period of time becomes super brittle. So we had these tools that we would try to pry the plastic, and it was pretty common to break it, and then you'd have to go to the dealership and buy another piece of plastic and put that in when it came in. But in the meanwhile, you had to go out and tell the customer you broke their car. And funny thing is, like the people with the junkiest cars were the biggest jerks when he broke something. And like I remember one guy was putting a phone in, and it was full of like hypodermic needles, and he poked himself with a needle that was in the car. But most of the time, the customers were nice, and it wasn't a problem. And I think the thing that I hated the most was trying to stick your hands in places, and it would cramp your hands up. And in the wintertime, the cars would be brought in, and so all the snow and crap would melt off the roof, and you'd be like in the car like this and so stuff would be dripping down your back, which was not super fun. Anyway, that's connected. Let's turn the truck on and see if we get any faults. You're not driving. Get in the back. Get. Trailer connected. Hit the brakes. Signal. Yep, usually if there's an issue, it comes up and says trailer fault. Check wiring. But looks like we're good to go. That's good. But anyway, I used to, when I first started doing these, I would do a super nice job. I'd put the wire loom on it, I'd shrink wrap the thing, and it would look stellar. And then I hit something like you can see this one. I backed up and hit the bottom of this, so it's kind of EM'd back a little bit. So a few spare parts. I have tons of this stuff. So anyway, the point I was initially getting at was that I worked at a place, actually two places, that installed car phones, and I always had this stuff in my pockets at the end of the day, so I would just throw it in a bin. But every day, like I was working on cars, and I would have a handful of this stuff. So this is a resistor for a 12 volt conversion on a tractor. Fuses. Yeah, look at this. Got it for 50 cents at the church fair. Because of COVID, they haven't had the church fair in a couple years. It's a shame. They made quite a bit of money, and they always had a lot of food, and it was like a big yard sale basically. They had some games for the kids, but I don't know if we'll ever get over this, but I hope so. If you were to ask 10 different people how to strap down a trailer, you'd probably get 10 different answers. So I'm not gonna demonstrate that. There's plenty of tractor tying down videos that you can watch. I just stick with 3 points of contact, front, middle, back, center of the load over the wheels as best you can with a little bit more of the weight towards the truck, because if you get too much on the tail, your truck will go like this, and especially at high speeds trying to stop. Fortunately, I'm not going very far, but there's lots of trailer towing and loading videos that I'd recommend before you start hauling equipment. But one last tip I want to let loose is don't park your truck on a hill like this when you load it, unless you block your front wheels, because what happens when you bring your tractor up on the tail of the trailer, it lifts up on the truck, and so the back of your truck gets light, and then your truck will go skittering down the hill, because the parking brake only locks the back tires. It doesn't do anything for the front. This here's the Mahindra dealer that I use, and their customer service has always been stellar. My dad used to bring a lot of his stuff here when I was a kid. It's still owned by the same family that it was when I was little. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope this video has been enjoyable for you, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you for watching.